It being 5 o'clock, the Lafourche Parish Council meeting of May 9th, 2017 is hereby called to order. Ms. Carleen, can you do roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Jones. Here. Ms. Sposito. Here. Mr. Grow. Here. Mr. Melvin.
He's here, but he's out of the room.
He's out of the office at this time. Out of the room. Mr. Bourgeois.
Here.
Mr. Perilou.
Here.
Mr. Otan. Here. Mr. Lafont. Here. Mr. Lorraine.
Here.
And Mr. Cantrell. Here.
All right, at this point, if everyone please rise, the invocation will be led by Mr. Bourgeois, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Mr. Jones.
Please bow our heads. Heavenly Father, please keep a watchful eye over all of us as we continue to serve our residents, constituents, and businesses in the best way that we feel we possibly can. Also, please look after those in harm's way, and we ask you this with all our hearts. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Section A, approval of minutes. Number one, motion to accept the minutes of the April 11th, 2017 regular session. It was deferred from last meeting on 4/25. Can we get a motion? Mr. Bourgeois, second by Mr. Lafont. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1. Item number two, motion to accept the minutes of the April 25th, 2017 regular session. Moved by Mr. Bourgeois, second by Mr. Otan. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1. Section B, presentations and/or updates. Item number three, Parish President James B. Cantrell to present the Employee of the Month Award and WOW Awards for the month of April.
We're going to defer that till the next meeting.
Yes, sir. Item number four, Mr. Mike Abear, County Agent, to present an annual report for the LSU Ag Center. Mr. Abear, how you doing tonight? Name and address for the record, please.
Okay.
Mike Abear, 115 Texas Street, Graceland. Representing the LSU Ag Center. I want to thank, first of all, I want to thank you for allowing me the opportunity and my coworkers the opportunity to give you our annual report. I think we do a lot of good for the residents of the Lafourche Parish, and we're proud of that, and we'd like to share that as much as possible, and so that's one of the reasons that we're here tonight. I work with agriculture in the parish, primarily sugarcane, livestock, soybeans, and any horticulture issues, be it lawns, gardens, and what have you. But for the sake of information, we have over 26,000 acres in sugarcane, plus about 8,000 acres of fallow land. Last year, our crop, we had a good crop. We had one of the best crops as far as sugar per acre in a long time. A lot of that was due to the fact that we had a mild winter, and we had excellent sugar last year. We had about 25 pounds more sugar per ton than we've had at any other year prior to this one. This year, our crop is starting off good. We did have some plant cane that we had to plow out. Y'all are familiar that during the month of August and November, we had a lot of dry weather. Sugarcane, after it's planted, needs to get rained on within about 3 to 4 weeks. It went over 6 weeks with no rain, some of it 2 months. And so a lot of that we had to plow out. We have 50,000 acres of pasture in this parish with over 17,000 cows. We have 285 cattlemen. Prices were good. They've been falling dramatically, but they're starting to pick up a little bit again. Ironically enough, the prices went way down, but I think if any of you went by a hamburger, ribeye steaks or whatever, the price at the grocery store did not go down.
No.
The people taking the hit are the people that are producing it. But we have a good cattle industry in this parish, and things are starting to pick up a little bit. And then our most recent crop, soybeans, we have about 8,000 acres of soybeans. We just started growing soybeans in Lafourche Parish about 6 years ago, and we grow it on our fallow land. My job as an extension agent, I have field days to educate the growers. I use research from LSU, research from USDA Research Station, and any place else that I can get it. And I have these people come and present their findings. I also have spring meetings for all of the commodities. I put out result demonstrations on varieties, weed control, cultural practices. I have newsletters, and I also make farm visits. And most recently, about 2 weeks ago, I had a pesticide safety program for a lot of the field workers for the Lafourche Parish Council so that nobody runs into any issues when applying pesticides. So we're trying to get that before anything happens. But I do get a lot of phone calls, I do get a lot of emails, and we try to take care of anything and everything that comes through our office. We also have a family and consumer science program, and I'd like to call on one of my coworkers, Becky Gautreaux, to tell you just a little bit about what she's doing for the people in the parish.
Move this down. Do I have to say my address as well?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Becky Gautreaux, 115 Texas Street in Raceland, representing the LSU Ag Center as the FCS agent. If you remember Debbie Melvin, she retired in 2014 or 15, and so I kind of took her position. I also work with the 4-H agent as well. I have a nutrition educator that goes out to WIC offices, Head Starts, commodity distributions, and I work with the Council on Aging, and we're going to start up programs like Debbie used to have with Smart Portions and Dining with Diabetes. So I handle the nutrition and the health about the LSU Ag Center. My coworker with 4-H, Donna Nakan, she's going to come and tell you about 4-H and the programs they've been doing.
Hello, Donna Nakan, 115 Texas Street, Raceland. I want to thank everyone here for their continued support of the 4-H program. And just to let you know that we still have a strong program and we continue to grow. Now, we have we have 34 clubs in the parish that we visit monthly. And we provide an educational program at each one of those meetings. And this year we focused on healthy living. And we grow a lot of things here in Lafourche Parish, but one of the things that 4-H grows is leaders, and we're real proud of that. We do that because with our various programs and events that take place throughout the year. Just last month, we had members that participated in the area cookery. We had a group of teen members clean the beach at Grand Isle, and then they got to tour the Wildlife and Fisheries Lab. We held an outdoor adventure day, where they learned about wetland animals and ATV safety and crawfish, and they even got to go fishing. They participated in the state illustrated talk contest. In fact, we had 2 state winners. We're proud of that. 31 members participated in the 4-H state shooting sports competition. And this was out of 75 who participated in the regional competition. In fact, one of the members, Adrian Talbot, who goes to Thibodeau High School, will represent Lafourche Parish and Louisiana at the national competition in Nebraska this summer. We also had a fundraiser to raise money to be able to get some money to get some new pens for our livestock program. 3 of our members also received state-sponsored scholarships. And we also awarded 5 scholarships on a parish level. Achievement Day was held. That's our big educational event award ceremony that was held at Central Lafourche. And now we're gearing up for the summer. We're going to have summer camp. We're going to have 4-H University. There's Lost Camp. The Junior Leader program is taking a trip to Tennessee. So there's lots of things yet to be going on. Now, today I brought with me one of my 4-H club members. This is Haley Arsamon. She is a graduating senior at Edie White. Haley is our Junior Leader president. She was also the recipient of the Junior Leader Scholarship. She is an outstanding 4-H member, an outstanding young adult, and a role model to our youth in Lafourche Parish. So I'd like to introduce and please give a welcome to Haley Arsamon.
Hi, my name is Haley. As she said, I'm a senior at E.D. White. So sadly, this is my last year as a 4-H member, but I plan to stay really involved. I'm the junior leader president, as she said. I was the vice president last year and the treasurer the year before, so I've always been very involved. I've been a 4-H'er for 8 years. I show livestock, mainly Brangus cattle, so we also have cattle. I also show sheep. My sheep and I actually won grand champion in parish, district, and state this year, so we went out with a bang for my senior year. It was great. I've won many awards through 4-H. I have won a safe driving competition with a partner. We won state. So we got the opportunity to go to 4-H Congress, which was held in Atlanta, which was fun. You got to meet everybody in 4-H from all over the United States. I've been a top junior leader for 3 years. I've won the Key Club Service Award, Outstanding Junior Leader this year, and also a scholarship. 4-H has inspired me, not only my present life, but also my future life. The impact that I have on kids makes me want to be an elementary teacher. So I plan on staying very involved also. So yes, that's what 4-H has done for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, folks, like I said, we appreciate all of the support that y'all give the LSU Ag Center. Over the last 40 years, I've been fortunate to see many council members, many council presidents, and through all of those years, we've always had excellent support from the council. And on a personal note, I'd like to say that this is my last report to the council because I'll be retiring in August. And again, I want to thank all of you for the support that you've given the LSU Ag Center and me individually. Does anyone have any questions?
Mr. Otan.
Yeah, Mike, I just want to speak on behalf of the residents of Lafourche Parish, that we're deeply saddened by the fact that you're going to be moving on. But very grateful for the 40 years that we had with you. And I can tell you that, you know, a lot of my leadership skills came from back in the day 4-H. And as I look at you here, I mean, it seems like I'm looking at the exact same guy 40 years ago. You haven't aged a bit. I'm sure a lot of people would agree with that, and Shaney, and I'm sure a lot of others. But I certainly want to say thank you, you know, from the bottom of our heart, and our residents are certainly grateful for everything you've done for our parish.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Bourgeois.
I'd like to echo what Mr. Otan said, and like to personally thank you. As like him, I grew up in the program. My kids have grown in the program. I've seen the effects throughout the community, friends, leaders, what have you. Several of us on this council that went through your program. And on behalf of everyone in Lafourche Parish, I'd like to say thank you very much.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Ms. Esposito.
Well, I won't repeat all of that, but I agree with all of that, and I'd like to personally thank you for hopefully saving my pecan trees. But I would like to get and I didn't get her name again, the young lady's email address. I took a picture of you while you were up there for your parents. I'm sure they'll want that in your baby book. So if you can give me your email address, I'll send it to you.
Mr. Lorraine.
Yes, Mike, I want to thank you and your staff for everything y'all have done. You and I go way back, and I can remember your teacher was a good one too, Mr. Dalton.
I had one of the best.
And you learned a lot from him.
I did.
But after you told me you were retiring, I was just sitting back and said, I wonder who's going first, you or me? So I guess it's you, unless something happens. But anyway, I want to thank you personally, and I hope you enjoy your retirement. And if I keep losing my bell peppers, I'm going to tell you to come to my house and tell me what's going on.
Not a problem.
You already told me. Thank you very much.
Thank
Mr.
you.
LaFont.
Thank you.
Mike, I just want to thank you. Worked with you 5 years on the council. You actually saved my centipede grass. We discussed it a little while ago. Appreciate it. Are you keeping the same phone number? Because I might have some more questions in the future, you know?
Yeah, my phone number will be the same.
All right, buddy. We'll still call you, remember that. But thank you so much.
Not a problem.
Enjoy retirement, buddy.
I will.
Appreciate it.
All right, Mr. Hebert, thank you so much.
Thank you all very much.
All right, Moving on to Section C, Engineers Architect Reports.
Dustin Rabley, representing T. Baker Smith, 1100 South Acadia Road, Thibodaux, Louisiana. I have 4 projects, the same 4 we discussed last meeting. The first one was Waverly Road. We've begun the surveying effort on that project, and I anticipate we'll actually wrap it up tomorrow. So that'll be everything we needed for the design, the hydraulics analysis, the utilities, and what have you. Just looking forward on that, we have to finish the hydraulics analysis. Remember, we're not looking at just what the demands are on that ditch or today, but 30, 40 years down the line.
Justin, I wanted to ask you something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you, by chance, make it out there after this last bad rain? We had some sort of holdup. James, I'm not sure if we found out what the problem was on Waverly with the backup the next day in that neighborhood.
Unfortunately, I was in Baton Rouge for that event.
James, did we figure out the problem?
Yes, in my presentation, I'm
Okay.
discuss the tailwater, and that's what caused Waverly and everything else to back up.
Okay.
The only other thing we would have to do to complete out phase 1 of our contract is get Terracon out there to do some soil samples. That's going to be done shortly as well. The next project I have is West Side drainage improvements. Sealed bids were received on May 2nd. Byron Talbot is the apparent low bidder. He submitted a bid for $1,173,000 and some change. The engineer's estimate was $1,359,000. So that's approximately $180,000 under budget. Looking forward, we're going to go ahead and review the 10-day submittals. He got those in yesterday. I want to say that I think I just saw an email on my phone where they were just approved. So what we're going to have to do next is go ahead and get the recommendation to the administration and the council to go ahead and award this project as soon as possible, simply because it will be a lot easier on everybody if we can do this during the summer months. Any questions on that one? Okay, next project, Cyprian Pump Station. We met with the Parish DPW yesterday. We were able to work out a few things on the preliminary design, a few questions I think that we had developed. I spoke to Mr. Cantrell tonight, and we'll be hopefully meeting with him tomorrow or Thursday to just make sure everybody's on the same page. Once we do that, I'll be bringing the final preliminary drawings, if you will. I'm just always a little reluctant to put those things publicly until you get, you know, DPW, the administrator, and the parish all in agreement with what we have for obvious reasons. As you know, we will require an amendment to our agreement because this is outside the scope of the last agreement, but I'm going to get that to you. I was out of town last week, like I said, but we're not holding off on getting anything done because of that. As far as the permit for this project, we expect the permit to be in hand in 45 days or less. We don't see any problems there. As you know, we do have a pipeline, crude oil line in that area. We reached out to Eagle Energy yesterday. In fact, they returned my call today. They seem like they're going to be cooperative. However, I was never able to locate a copy of that lease in the clerk of court's office. So I'm going to have to rely on them to provide that right away, whatever it may be, to us. Looking forward, of course, we have to get that permit finalized with DNR and the Corps. Don't see a problem there. We'll continue working with the Eagle Energy, and we're going to go ahead and wrap up this preliminary design. Other than that, you know, the schedule I had stated last meeting where, you know, our goal is to be in construction before or during the winter. I still don't, you know, of course, it's only 2 weeks later. I don't see any problem with that still to this day. Questions?
Yeah, I was going to say, item 6, we're going to have more discussion about that. I was going to ask if you stick around for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, next project, East Side drainage improvements. I was in Baton Rouge, like I said, last week. You know, I spoke to a few state reps, and it doesn't appear as though the budget's going to be balanced on the back of DOTD. So we're just simply waiting maybe another 2-3 weeks, and hopefully House Bill 2 will be zeroed in substantially more than what it is at this point in time. Other than that, I have nothing further to report. Any questions? That's yours. Yes, sir.
Font?
That the one in the South Lafourche area?
Yes, sir.
We had some serious, I think not Jerome, excuse me, James and them were discussing that for that last rainfall, which that was historical, I know that, but we had some trouble back there, so I think James, I don't know, did y'all find something blocking the 20 Armpit Canal somewheres?
It's just a tremendous amount of, blockage in that canal. This project is gonna help solve a lot of them issues. But we don't have enough right-of-ways to get back there and do anything right now.
Yeah, and I saw, people were pretty upset on the, and one reason I'm just gonna bring it up here, because some people do watch it. People were pretty upset about it on Facebook, but, you know, when you got landowners and some of them not willing to give right-of-ways, or we having to fight through getting right-of-ways on a canal that, and I thought we would've had right-of-ways years ago, nothing on this administration or this council. But that project needs to happen soon, and I thank you, and I thank Mr. Jim and his staff, and I thank Mr. Barnes for doing what they can. But it seems like the water wasn't getting to the Britain Canal to drain. They said there's so much blockage in that canal.
Yeah, you can't say that it's one thing blocking that.
Right,
canal
right.
up.
I think it's multiple.
You know, part of it is in the center of it, you have a hump in the culvert, so, you know, we gotta bust up 6 streets to reset the culverts, and I would anticipate that we'll probably be coming to the council to approve our agreement to get, you know, as you may recall, we had partnered with John Plaisance to assist us in getting those right-of-ways, and there'll be some discussions we have to have with the administration and probably the DA about what can we do, because, I mean, you have at least over 100 landowners. I've got to believe that somebody is going to have an issue with it, but we need some legal advice on what we can do.
Do you know the date of the next drainage board meeting?
I'll send it to you.
Let me know, because what I'll do is I'll put it out there. I think that's a good place for if citizens have any discussion. I think that's a good open forum where they could discuss it. But thank you, appreciate it.
No problem. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Any other engineers, reports, architects? All right, Section D, Parish President, Department Heads, Directors or Managers, Reports, Presentations, and/or Updates. Number 5, Mr. James Barnes, Director of Public Works, to present presentation.
Yes. I hope y'all can kind of bear with me tonight. I got a couple of presentations. One is going to be on the rain event. We got the clicker. This here is on the rain event we had last week. This is Lake Ocardo with 4.5 inches of rain. If y'all notice how high the lots are, the street is kind of used as a storage area for water.
Mr. James, can you speak a little closer? It's hard to.
Yes. If y'all notice the street is kind of used as a storage area because the drainage capacity at the 2 pump stations was already overloaded. And this is going to be reflected throughout this presentation. This water actually has nowhere to go because the drainage system all the way to the pump station is over capacity. In a short period of time, we've taken on so much water on the east side and the west side of Thibodeau from Assumption Parish, and it's coming down on our pump stations, like in the Sugar Ridge area, also Layton area. Let me kind of move on here. And this also is going to reflect on Bentley Drive, Maplewood, the 40 Orphan Road. As I move along, y'all will see what I'm talking about. This is still on Lake Ocardo, Lake Howard, This is the Abbey Trailer Park ditch. It's almost at capacity. That is at capacity on the Abbey Trailer Park ditch. Abbey Road drainage ditch, it's going over the road. This here is the 40 Orphan Road on the northeast side of Thibodeau. That's 2 culverts coming under the road right there. The water you see on the left, that is backed up from the 80 Orphan Canal and Bayou Onion. There's nowhere for the water to go because we've taken on all the water from Assumption Parish. That water is coming down. So our water's at a standstill till our pumps can catch up. That's still at the 40 Orphan Road. Now this here is the Layton Pump Station. If you'll notice on your left at them pumps sitting out in the open, that is the top of your pumps. That canal is 15 foot deep. Where that blue barrel is sitting, the water is about to come over the pump station itself on just gravity flow. That pump station is running at full capacity. When this canal here fills up, it backs all the way up as far as Bentley Drive, Waverly Road. This hydraulic pressure right here will not let the water come out of them subdivisions because we are taking on so much water from Assumption Parish. That's the 60 Orphan Canal at the Layton Pump Station. That's the Layton Pump Station drainage canal. Okay, that's the end of that one. But the point that I'm trying to get at is with that much water, Assumption Parish got 11.4 inches of rain. All of that water comes down on both sides of Thibodeau, comes to our pump stations. It's one private pump station is north of Layton that's very important to the parish. We don't own it. It's called the Welcome Pump Station. And the owners of that pump station is going to be installing another new pump at their own expense to help us out take on some of Assumption's water. But when we're talking about some of these areas, as long as we're not getting water in the houses, I don't want to hear about flooding. When we bring it, all this water is coming down from Assumption Parish, and it'll back up water all the way up to Bentley Drive. It'll back up water behind Thibodeau on the east side and the west side. We take on a tremendous amount of water coming from Assumption, not only just Thibodeau's water and what is local, and that's what gives us a tremendous problem. Now, we do have a project in the works to add another 48-inch pump to the Layton Pump Station, which is a grant. They're going to do some improvements to that pump station. So that's going to help out. And I'm going to try to do one pump improvement or a couple of pump improvements at Sugar Ridge to try to help South Sugarfield. But when you get that kind of rain to your north, you might not get it in Thibodeau and you might not get it in Raceland. But when Assumption Parish gets that kind of rain, it will actually back up to canals like Waverly Road and back up on them subdivisions. Anybody got any questions before I move to the
Mr. Jones?
Yeah. Mr. Bourne, that welcome pump, they took it out and they're gonna replace it with a new one, or they're gonna leave the old one in?
They're going to leave the 2 existing pumps in,
All right,
and they're going to add another new pump at their expense.
okay. Do we still pay the fuel and the electrical charge of those pumps?
Just electrical bill.
Just electric? So we're
Yes.
gonna continue with that to keep?
Yes, we're going to continue.
We don't own the pumps, but
No.
the pumps help out a great bit.
Tremendous.
Yeah, so it deviates a lot of water from Assumption.
Yes.
So, all right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Posey.
Mr. Barnes, the pump that was removed from Sugar Ridge, the temporary pump Can you explain to me again why you originally put that temporary pump there in Sugar Ridge?
Yes, ma'am, to try to help solve the water on South Sugarfield. And putting that temporary pump there demonstrated that the pump we have in place, that was put in place by the last administration, was not adequate to handle that water right there.
So we know that the existing pumps in Sugar Ridge subdivision are not adequate to handle the water.
That's correct. And
But the temporary pump was moved nonetheless and put where and
Yes.
why was it moved? If
It
we
was-
already know the existing pump there is not adequate to handle a rainfall in Sugar Ridge, especially for South Sugarfield.
Well, we was rebuilding Remy Pump Station in your area, and that's only a one pump station. And I wasn't counting on a rain event of this caliber, but it was put back in the following day.
Right, the people in South Sugarfield, I mean, the fire department was on standby. That's how worried we were that some of those people could have lost their homes.
Yes, ma'am, I understand
What would have been
that.
our answer to them had that happened? I mean, and how far off we are from getting a pump that is capable of handling all of that development in that area?
I've got the drawings and all on the existing pump, and I'm working on to see how much bigger pump I can install in the existing station. That's only an 18-inch pump back there.
Right,
Nowhere near the capacity to handle either side of the road at Sugarfield, okay?
right.
And then we have 3 other hydraulic pumps in the area. But at this particular location is so vital to South Sugarfield that yes, we are going to have to put a bigger pump in there. It's no ifs, ands, and buts about it.
Do you understand? I'm surprised, I guess, the residents of South Sugarfield, that they're not filled wall to wall in these council chambers, which is what I would be had I lived on South Sugarfield. When some of them mentioned the negligence of removing that pump, and I understand why you had to do what you have to do. But when we have to be able to support developments and to make sure that our residents are protected, when we know there's a problem, I understand sometimes there's unforeseen circumstances, but you established the need for that pump how long ago? It's been quite a while, right?
Yes, it's been quite a while, yes, ma'am.
So I just would hope that we do something permanent very soon, because thinking that the pump is there and having it gone, and the river that was flowing through South Sugarfield, as well as other areas. I'm
Yes.
just saying that because the fire department was on standby. I mean, that's troublesome.
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
Continue, please.
This here is Louise Drive, sweeping the ditch out, the before and the after, and during. This here is the Rank Pump Station. And Miss Lucy, I want to correct that. We put that temporary pump at this station. If you notice on the left, top left, that's the pump station as it existed before. No walls, just a roof. The engine compartment was located on top of the discharge pipe. The discharge pipe had been patched for years and years and years. So at this time, we decided to go in, pull the pump out, put a temporary pump in there. We did this project in-house, drove new pilings, new seals, moved the pump back out into the canal, and changed the motor position of the motor where it don't sit on the discharge pipe. And at the bottom, you'll see that we got the roof on it and partial sides. So that has been a tremendous improvement right there in-house.
Rink pump station. It's
Yes.
been a problem for a while, right?
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Lawrence? You knew coming in, that was one of our problem areas, I know. I know you and I have been there and to a few other areas.
Yes, ma'am.
I guess the point I'm trying to drive home, and this is no fault of yours specifically, but when we know we have these problems with these pump stations that aren't, or, could fail at any moment, if that Rink pump station had failed in Choctaw, this would be a whole different story tonight. Had you not gone in and did repairs or had the temporary one there, I guess, we have to make sure that we're not dealing with, I feel like we're piecemealing pump stations right now. Is that,
We are not piecemealing. That's what we're trying to resolve that we inherited. We have several pumps. We probably still got 10 pumps down throughout the parish. The guys that's rebuilding the pumps, it's got their hands full. They doing rebuilding pumps. We buying new pumps. As y'all see, we have bought several new pumps, new engine packages. But eventually, you have to work within your means of your money. But I think the in-house projects, like this project right here, saved the parish about $40,000.
I agree.
You know, and like natural gas in Corey's area, that 48-inch pump is very critical to that area. And that pump will be completely rebuilt and installed by the end of next week.
Do you have a plan as to when you're going to have these pumps problems resolved? Do you have a spreadsheet? Do you have an idea? I know we're talking money all the time, and money.
Y'all should be getting a monthly status report on the pumps that's down. And
Do we have a plan of action, I guess I should say?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So the plan of action has them all done by when?
I don't have that date.
You don't have that?
No, ma'am, because sometimes when we pull the pumps out, it's beyond repair. Then we have to put out bids for a new one. But a lot of our stations only have one pump, like this station right here. It only has one pump. The last administration, we bought 8 portable hydraulic pumps to be used throughout the parish. Like in this case right here, a lot of cases where we have pumps out right now. Them portable pumps got put in a permanent location. 2 of them, no, it's 4 of them's in your area, matter of fact, that there should be permanent pump stations. And they took our portable pumps, which are not designed to the grind and the amount of water that they had to consume here. And if you read up on the D&D pumps, it says plainly, freshwater pumps. Okay, we don't have fresh water in the bayou down here. And we have a pump in, we have Coastal Pump Station out right now. We have another hydraulic pump set up down there. So all the hydraulic pumps that was bought for these type of situations, to give us time to get them repaired, got used up as permanent pumps. And until we get money to build these permanent stations, and we did apply for a grant to add 2 more permanent stations to the Sugar Ridge area.
Okay, when you mention a grant, you put in for capital outlay, and it is an
Yes.
in-House Bill 2 this year, so I've already checked. None of that made it to House Bill 2 this year, so none of that's.
Yeah, none of that's going to happen.
When we say we apply for a grant, when we apply for capital outlay and it's not funded, or it's not even brought up in
Yes.
House Bill 2, we have another year, so that's not a viable option, in my opinion.
No, it's not. It's not. We're going to have to just keep using portable pumps, or we've got to come up with a tremendous amount of money. And the whole parish, not just your area. Every councilman sitting up here, except probably Daniel and Jerry, because South Lafourche takes care of a lot of their pumps. But all these other councilmen has got all the needs of needing pump stations. Like I say, if y'all will remember, the first presentation that I put on was called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. We inherited a big problem. And yes, this administration has come a long way with repairing these pumps and replacing pumps. And I've tried to spend the taxpayers' dollars wisely. We have saved a tremendous amount, and we have come a long way. And if y'all will look back at the status reports of what has been improved just on pump stations alone, it'll get your attention. But we still have a long way to go, and we're working on it. This here's Choctaw Road, sweeping the ditches and cleaning the culverts. Choctaw South Levee, replacing the rotten culverts. Choctaw South Levee, cleaning the levee. Law Valley Road, digging the ditches and cleaning the culverts. Bayou Buff South Levee, repair slide in on the levee. The Zalman's Pump Station. A lot of y'all know about the lilies and the debris. When you at a pump station, it'll bring it to the pump. So every now and then we have to go in there and clean them out. This is Bentley Drive, sweeping the ditches. Manchester Manor, dig and clear the ditches. This here was mainly done by District 5. The parish has some more work to do behind the houses. And this particular area right here, there was a pump bought for Manchester Manor by the last administration. Up until about 8 months ago, I didn't know that that pump station was never in the works. They bought it, never permitted it, never moved forward with it. The pump was still sitting at the Thibodeau field office, even though it was an 18-inch pump.
What do you mean sitting there, just?
It's been sitting there for years, 5 or 6 years.
Do you have any other pumps sitting someplace? That's the only pump that's?
That's the new one, but I wanted to particularly tell you, Manchester Manor, it was a pump bought for that particular area.
Is that going to be installed soon?
Just had to go through all the permitting and see where we need to put it. But I mean, we got to build a station to put it. The pump was bought, but the station was never permitted. And no hydraulic study was done. But y'all need to know some of the problems that, like I say, we inherited and we're working on. This here is French Plantation, digging the ditches. Winder Road East, sweeping the ditches. Sugar Plantation subdivision. The power line ditch being dug. Abigail ditch, cleaning and sweeping the ditch. If you look down on can't hardly see it's an excavator at the bottom left-hand corner sitting in the trees. That's how long it's been since that ditch has been cleaned on Abigail. If y'all look at the piles of debris on the bottom of the right, it took us a while to get a temporary right-of-way to get on that side due to all the structures that was actually built on the parish right-of-way. This is Abigail right-of-way, clearing the right-of-way. Now on the bottom left and the bottom right, you can see how much growth it was in that area where the excavator was working. This is Lede Drive. Thoroughbred Drive, digging the ditches. Burma Road, cutting the grass, cleaning culverts and removing grass from the ditch. Burma Road, cleaning the ditch. Martinez Road, repairing and installing bulkhead. On the left, you see the before. You see the sheep islands that were put in the middle. And the completed section on the right. Martinez outfall, repairing a cave-in. 4 Point Drive, cleaning and sweeping the right-of-way before and after. Ida Street outfall, cleaning the outfall. Oak Point Road, Pointe-au-Chien, that's a sandbag levee when the tide gets high or the strong southeast wind, that water comes over the main road in Pointe-au-Chien. And we're gonna be in the process of building a little small levee there. We have to sandbag it from time to time. Twin Oak Pump Station, and see the white pipe right there? That's a float system that was never on that pump station before. It was all run manual. Now it will start the pumps up automatically and cut the pumps off. Digging Mirage right away. Danoff Street outfall. See all the debris on the right that was actually in the ditch that the excavator's just taken out in grass and debris. Robichaux right away, cleaning the right of way and digging the outfalls. Clotilda Pump Station, driving piles for a new deck. If you'll see at the end of down at the bottom where the two guys are, we actually moved the pump that we just rebuilt. We're moving it over to the opposite side of the pump station because actually it was sitting on top of a natural gas pocket. Whatever kept that pump station from blowing up, I don't have a clue. But we're moving it. That's another project that we did in-house, and the pump is being rebuilt right now. And the two guys down there on that work table, they're probably two of the best welders and pump repairers in the parish. Elvira Street, replacing the undersized culverts to improve the drainage. Now on this street right here, the drainage district from down the bayou bought all the culverts and the catch basins, all except one catch basin. That's all the parish was out, just one catch basin. Drainage district furnished the pipes, and we had to install them. South Dominic, cleaning the right-of-way and relocating the ditch. Digging the Gateway Trace outfall at Valentine. Hamilton Street, replacing some rotten culverts. Another rotten culvert that we're replacing on Hamilton Street. Day Lane, cleaning the culverts. Now, if y'all will pay attention to your right there, that piece of metal, it looks like it's got wings on it. That's what we clean our culverts with. But if you notice at the top right, that's how full of dirt that culvert was. It was 3/4 full of dirt. The picture on your left, I'll show you what kind of job and culvert cleaners that the parish has of washing them out. Chateau Estates, digging roadside ditches. Coastal Levee, installing the 30-inch portable pump. That's on account of we rebuilding the coastal pump station. East 7th Street outfall. John Ogeron property, cleaning the right-of-way. East 43rd place, digging the roadside ditches. Can't dig the ditch much bigger than that because you have a gas line on one side and you have some utilities on the other side, so you cannot widen the ditch out any more than that without replacing one or the other. West 4th Street, digging across in the back ditches. West 11th Street, digging the back ditch. This is another one on West 11th. Jimmy Martin's outfall. Butch Carouette's property, digging the outfall canal. Digging the street ditches on East 93rd and 94th. East 172nd Street, replacing a rotten culvert. DD Delore outfall. Galliano Bridge in-house maintenance. Y'all notice we painted all the handrails, redid the inside of the bridge house, trying to save it to where it don't wind up like Valentine Bridge. Murphy Broussard digging the outfall before and after. Trailer Park sweeping the ditch, this is in District 9. If y'all notice how small of a right-of-way, and then again, this is something that we inherited, that little bobcat has to relay that dirt out of there because there's only a 10-foot right-of-way. And that little 300-foot right there, I think it did pretty well getting it dug and getting it relayed out the way they had to do it. No room to back a truck in there. Pump station in the parish. This is going to be interesting. You see the canal on your right. There's very little bit of water in the canal. Look at the pump. There's no water around the pump station. These are water-cooled bearings. This pump has no automatic off and on switch. It has to be run manual. But if these pumps that's running manual is not checked very frequently and they run out of water, you can lose a pump in 2 to 3 hours. In this case right here, didn't get checked enough. Burnt the bearings up in the pump. Now I have maintenance problems.
Mr. James, could you please tell us which pump that is?
No, sir.
You can't or you don't know?
Oh, I do know.
Why can't you tell us?
I don't want to, because it brings in parish personnel, and I don't want to discuss personnel issues, okay?
I'm not discussing personnel, I'm discussing pumps.
Yes, I understand.
What district?
District is in the Thibodeau area.
All right, so you're not gonna tell us what pump? I'll make a public request to find out what pump this is, please.
That's Little Owl Pump Station.
Which one?
Little Owl.
All right, thank you. Not my district, I don't know who it's for. That yours? All right, we can move on.
What happens during the week, during the daytime of the 40 hours a week? The regular pumpers are not liable for these pumps. The born personnel have to take care of these pumps. They are not full-time pumpers. Maybe we need to educate the people a little bit better. This is how quick a situation can get away from you. And I'm going to just use like Armand's area. The biggest part of Armand's area has got outside pumpers that refuse to let the parish employees run their pumps. They getting paid to run their pumps. They could not pump for 40 hours a week if they wanted to. But they believe in seeing after their pumps. I have to say that. You have some good pumpers in your area. A lot of areas we're using parish employees because that's the way it's wrote right now. They use parish employees for 40 hours a week to run the pumps.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bourne,
Yes.
I don't see a date on that. Can you tell us what date that was?
I would have to go back and research that a little bit, but it's been in the last 6 months or 6 or 8 months. And the person that did run this pump was actually out on medical leave. So it was basically up to the parish employees to run the pump station. So I'm just wanted to show this, that how quick and how expensive it can get on water-cooled barriers to burn up a pump.
So real quick, so we can move on in the process, because I want to move very quickly through the rest of this, unless
Yes.
anybody has questions. Talk about solutions. So you're showing us this, and I'm not looking to get anybody in trouble. We're just looking to address it to make sure it doesn't happen again. What is your solution so it doesn't happen again? Float switch? So it
Yes.
shuts off?
Yes,
Okay,
automatic float
that's fine.
switches.
We just need to not let it happen again. It's fine. Stuff's gonna happen. It's not a perfect world.
Right.
But, so, I don't wanna go down
And
that road.
I'm working on that. We have a tremendous amount of stations in the parish that don't have them,
That's fine.
and that's the end. Thank y'all for bearing with me.
Mr. Grow, you have a question?
Much more for thank you. I wanted to thank you for the Abigail ditch. I've gotten a tremendous amount of calls in the last few weeks. In talking with Public Works, I expected it to be well over a month to do the project, and I can't believe how fast y'all went. If we wouldn't have had that rain, it'd have been done in a week. And I just wanted to thank you for that.
All right. Ms. Lucy.
Mr. Barnes, when was the Manchester Manor pump found?
About 6 months ago when I was made aware of it.
So it's still at the Thibodeau
Field
Field house.
office. Yes.
Which size pump is that?
It's a 16-inch pump.
Hydraulic?
It's a natural gas engine.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, next item, number 6, Councilman James Bourgeois requesting the administration to present an update on the Cyprian Pump Project. Is there such a presentation, or?
I mean, I have questions. If they don't have a presentation, they're kind of more towards Dustin than administration, but I'm asking through the administration as a proper protocol.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. I guess you're gonna be answering Dustin. All right. I understand that there's been some changes. When you first got the project, it was gonna be built parish, in-house, and then we've moved to where we're gonna have a contractor and it's going out to bid.
Well,
And
that's not completely true. It started as a hydraulic pump station from the previous administration, then to an in-house project to what it is today.
Okay. And I think the folks that want it to be the Parla Rose design as the Parla Rose pump station or similar to that?
That is correct.
Okay. I guess my question is, number one is, I mean, if we've already got one that works and all that, kind of why is it taking so long on the design?
Well, you can't take what we did a year ago on the hydraulic pump station and make it applicable today. I will get the actual date that I was informed that we were going from in-house to us actually designing and letting a contract for you. But I would dispute that this could be done in a month or two, Mr. Bourgeois.
Okay. I mean, I'm just trying to track, because it's my understanding that I got a lot of people that want this pump station, understand it's not your fault, it's been dragging on for a couple of years, and.
No, and I fully understand, and look, I have people that call me regularly on this pump station. I fully understand that, but look, at the end of the day, we still have to do our due diligence to do this right, and there is no reason or any bit of motivation on our part to drag this out any longer than what it needs to be. I promise you that.
I'm not accusing, I'm just trying to.
No, but I want to be clear about that, and I'll be more than happy to stop and go back and provide that timeline and those emails with the administration's approval, if you want them. I mean, that's no problem.
we're just trying to track it. I mean, I have
I
some
understand.
constituents, I mean, that call me on a daily basis about it, so.
Okay.
I mean, it's not personal, it's just business, and I'm
Right.
trying to follow up, because it's kind of a topic, goes all the way back to wanting to move money over a year ago and what have you.
Right, I remember.
So the next question I have is that the North Lafourche Levee District was supposed to dredge the canals to feed the pumps. Are you handling that, or do I have to go through administration on that?
I'm not handling that. We did reach out to the levee district to get some preliminary drawings from them, because obviously what they do affects the pump. Certainly you have to have the capacity in that template. We did provide them some of the cross sections from the UNET model that was done in the modeling effort. And I'm waiting to get those drawings. In fact, I spoke to them today in reference to that.
Okay. And then ultimately, the last question, what's a realistic completion date that I can tell people? I mean,
Yeah. Well, listen, not fully having the full geotechnical analysis, that's very hard. But looking at where we are today, and look, we have 3 other engineers that are working on this pump station too. We still feel that, you know, we're going to be advertising this project sometime around the November, December timeframe, okay, so that we can be in construction during winter. Or October, November, somewhere in there. I don't want to say a specific day, because, you know, some people record that exact day and think it's going to be then.
so, and then we're still tracking that the pumps are gonna be delivered themselves, the actual pumps, back in July? The actual machine?
That's how I understand it.
Okay. So, I mean, I'm just trying to track it. I mean, I'm getting a lot of phone calls. I know Mr. Melvin gets some phone calls on it. He's shaking his head. He gets a lot, and.
Yeah, and so that's, you know, and I knew that, I had heard that, so that's why one of the reasons I started emailing y'all these progress reports, and I do plan on coming every meeting now, just at least in the near future, because I do have a lot of moving parts that are finally kicking off. But look, you're more than welcome to call me
Okay.
anytime, and I'll tell you where we are at that moment in time.
Okay.
And thank you for those progress reports. We appreciate that. Mr. LaFont?
Thank you. I want to welcome James to politics and government bureaucracy, so welcome on board. Took you a year to figure it out. I waited 5 years for a little project, nothing against this administration, but that's how things go through government. Welcome to the world.
Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, that Cyprian pump station has been going on for quite a while. I think y'all had come up with some drawings or some plans. Now there's a possibility that might change.
Well,
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, so we did. We had actually taken the project to the end of the preliminary design, and we were ready to go to final design for the previous administration. When the previous administration wasn't elected, we just shut down because I had heard that the incoming administration would not want hydraulic pumps here. So I didn't continue to run up a bill or an invoice.
But the thing that Coastal's being worked on, Parlor Rose is being worked on, Pointe-au-Chien is being worked on, and this one was in line with them. You have a substantial lot of money sitting right there. And I don't think it's going to take all of that money, because listening to some of these councilmen, there are some other problems. And this is a big chunk of sales tax money from sales tax A sitting there, that's been sitting there for almost 3 years. And we're barely moving when all the others are moving. I'm assuming the pumps were ordered. The 2 or 3 pumps, whatever it is, were ordered. And that's scheduled to come in sometime in August, July. And so my way of thinking, we need to get moving one way or the other. And don't try to spend all that money, because you know what we have there. And some of these other councilmen are buying, I'm telling you.
No.
And there's not much money out there except what you're dealing with right there. Other than that, there's not much money. So some of that extra money could help somebody else. But if we don't move on it, it's not gonna help that one, and it's not gonna help whoever.
Okay. I
Mr.
have
Melvin?
projects.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. You know, I have some projects, some in you and Jerry's area that we need some of that money on too.
No, you can't touch that money. We can't touch that money.
No, I know, but I understand everybody needs money. We have been, those pumps that are gonna arrive for Cyprian, okay, were spec'd out and procured in a bid process by the parish when they were planning on doing an in-house project, as I understand it, okay?
That's right.
It wasn't till after that was awarded that we were given the green light to let a contract for a design on that pump station. They, as I understand it, and the administration could speak more about it than I, but they were gonna do some kind of in-house rehab on there. That's not what they're doing. When we got the green light to do the design, we did move.
But what I'm saying is, I think it's being drugged. If we keep letting you do drawings, we're gonna run out of money before we get the pump station.
I have not
Them
submitted-
drawings are
I'll
not
call
free,
it a
my
question,
man.
because I'd like to ask a question, please. It's
Go
okay?
ahead.
Let me ask you a question real quick, Dustin. I appreciate what y'all are doing. We're very happy when this project
Well,
is
I
done.
appreciate you just cutting me out, boo. Thank you.
You're welcome, Mr. Lorraine. I think we're on the same side, but I think your questions, what I'm going to get to, may help us. When we first took over, $3.5 million dedicated to this pump project. We were going to go new pumps. Then it was decided that we were going to do an in-house. Could you please tell me who decided that? Was it the administration or T. Baker Smith?
I work at the leisure of the administration.
Perfect. Then, everybody goes out there, we've looked at it several times, and I'm not saying if there's a better way to do this, we're gonna try and do it the best, most feasible way possible to get the most bang for the buck and put the money where it needs to be. So the administration wanted to do in-house, so that changed the scope of the project, right? Since then, now we're going all new, correct?
Yes, sir.
Who made that decision? You, at T. Baker Smith, or the administration?
Someone within the administration.
Okay. So I appreciate their help, because this is affecting me, it's affecting several landowners. I appreciate all y'all doing. And I know, it seems to me that maybe they should have waited to number E to ask their questions to the administration, who are actually making all these changes, because you don't take orders from me or from Corey or from any of these guys. You're just trying to comply and do the best you can do with what you got. Does that make sense?
I would say that's very
Thank you
fair.
very much.
All right. Yeah, I think the administration bit off more than they can chew, and they had to punt back to T. Baker Smith, and you guys are on the hook now, so I apologize for those hard questions.
I
Do
think-
your best, and please, let's get this thing built.
Yeah, but look, let me say this. I think James is very, very capable, okay? You know, I don't know. I don't want to speak for the
I don't doubt that. Not at all. All right, thank you.
Thank y'all.
Corey, before we move on, I got one comment. No, thank you, Dustin. James, earlier, I just want to let the public know, earlier you said that I didn't need any pumps. I actually need 2 pumps. Just want the public to know that we do need 2 pumps in La Rose area, and that'd be big pumps.
Yes, that's at the T-Boy pump station.
I need some big major pumps in the 40 Humping Canal. That's some big pumps. I do need pumps.
Okay.
All right, that concludes section D. We'll go to E, questions for the administration, session 1. I have a question. I think everyone received a handout like this. It says transparency and open government. And I just want to read the goals. This is put out by our administration on our website. There's a big button on the top that says citizen transparency. It says goals, transparency, making government information available to the public is a requirement for an informed citizenry and an accountable government. Participation, democracy requires opportunities for participation and collaborative problem solving whenever possible. This is at the core of democratic governance. And the third bullet is accessibility. A government serving all its people needs policies which provide maximum information accessibility and maximum inclusion in participatory processes. So with that being said, I'd like to ask the parish president, what is your legal reasoning for keeping our council members or our internal council auditor out of meetings that deal with capital projects or budgetary matters, sir?
They're not legislative functions.
I didn't ask you, sir. I asked the parish president.
First of all, I asked you to give me questions before so we could give you the research and answers you need. I am not going to answer any questions and be part of
I'm going to
this.
wait until you're ready to answer.
Well, you can wait a long time.
We're waiting on Parish President Jimmy Cantrell to let us know what is his legal reasoning for keeping council members and/or auditors out of meetings that deal with capital projects or budgetary matters, Mr. Lassane. Not from you. I'm waiting on the parish president. He runs this parish. He should be able to tell me that.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Jones?
maybe, do you think the public has a right to know what's going on?
Sure they do.
Then,
But I asked over and over again to submit your questions so we can make sure that we get the right research, you get the right answers, and y'all refuse to answer questions. So I refuse to answer any questions and be part of this circus that y'all been doing.
A circus to
I am not
want
gonna answer any
transparency
more
for the
questions.
people of the parish, sir?
No, you're just trying to do this thing.
Here's another question for you. What is the administration trying to hide from the public by stonewalling what should be true transparency? Here's another question. Do you believe that the public in this council has a right to know what is going on in their government?
Yes, indeed, we do, and we try to be transparent, and we do want to answer every question if you provide it to me in advance. So make sure, again, that we can research these questions and give you the proper answer. Thank you.
Research it. It's on your very website that says transparency and open government. This is your policy, Mr. Cantrell. What needs researching about your policy? Here's another question for you. Have you read the citizens transparency section of this parish website, and do you agree with what's on it? I have time all night. Waiting on you.
Mr. Chairman, if I could say something.
I want to give the parish president a few more minutes to get his thoughts together so he can answer these questions.
Sir, I'm going to repeat myself. I asked for questions in advance. You've refused to do it, so we can research it, and that's as far as I'm going with it. When you do what I ask, I'll answer your questions.
I think you need to realize that I don't work for you. I work for the people of District 6. They want to know these answers, okay? This is your own policy, transparency. And you can't even tell me why our internal auditor can't even sit in on a meeting to report back to the council on items dealing with finance and projects. These questions we're asking this gentleman right here about this project, we should already know these answers. That's called transparency in government. We don't work for you. We don't have to abide by your rules on questions.
Neither do I work for you, sir.
You work for the people of the parish and they want to know. I'm going to ask you one more time. What is your legal reasoning for keeping council members and/or the internal auditor out of meetings that deal with capital projects or budgetary matters? All right, he don't know. Mr. Melvin, you're up.
Go ahead. I have a question. I guess it's maybe for Tommy or Mr. James or Mr. Jimmy. But before I go into my question, I know that Ms. Sposito and Mr. Reggie Bagala and I went to Baton Rouge to deal with a bill in the Senate that would crush our parish, crush us. And I just, it was a good experience, but I think when we got there, I think the heavy lifting was done according to what I was told by Mr. Morrell, Senator Morrell pulled his bill. And I wanted to give some credit to Mr. Cantrell, Gordon Dove, President Gordon Dove, and Norbert Chabert, because when we arrived, we got to visit, talk a little bit with some folks there, and Senator Morrell pulled the bill, which would be a death knell to this parish. Next, we need to focus on Senator Allen's bill, because in the long run, if we lose these tax credits that the boats get paid back, the boat owners, who knows what's going to be long time down the road. If you like paying $5,000 a year in property taxes compared to what you're paying now, you know, I'll pay $1,000-something. I don't want it to go to $5,000 or $6,000. Okay, so it's something to keep your eyes on with these Senate bills concerning that vessel credit. Next, my quick question is, I was working with Mr. Passman and Mr. Mark Dufresne about cleaning a ditch along Marcella Drive. Very simple. We're talking about sweeping a ditch. It happens all the time. You see it. I think they had a little trouble getting with the landowner who owns a pasture just to the south. Well, I go to church with him, met with him, say, hey, would you mind meeting with our guys? They just want to do a little sweeping in the ditch for the residents on Marcella. And got it all worked out, had some paperwork sent for one-time right-of-way to his attorney, got it all done. And it was supposed to be put on the agenda, and it may be put on the next agenda, which I think is the one coming. Did y'all settle when it was going to be put on the agenda? For sweeping a ditch? Because I've consulted with some folks, and they said they never heard of needing an approval for the parish president on this.
I'll have to check on that servitude, that right-of-way servitude.
Well, Tommy, this is an email from you. This is not to be put on the agenda until President Cantrell has to review it.
That's correct. Everything that goes on the agenda is, when it's submitted by administration, it's
I'll
supposed to be
believe it,
approved.
but I talked to 3 people. They said they'd never seen anything like this before for sweeping a ditch. I'm just saying, you know, I worked very hard to get this thing done.
And that's also Fifth Ward Gravity Drainage District there. So I wanted to communicate with Mr. Barnes, and it wasn't going to get on this agenda, so it will be on next agenda.
That's fine.
It's not a problem.
I'd be happy if Fifth District did it. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Mr. LaFont? All right, we're moving along. Section F, council reports, presentations, updates, and our question session 1. Item number 7, Mr. Reggie Bagala, Legislative Internal Auditor, to present a report. Name and address for the record, please.
Sir, Reggie Bagala, 404 Barataria Street, Lockport. Good afternoon. I've handed out an outline to some of you, to y'all, to see some of the items I've been working on during my tenure as your auditor. The 3 areas that I feel that must be addressed immediately are transparency, participation, and accessibility, right here. These aren't subjects that I, nor do I believe anyone in the council or administration should take lightly. Transparency is a way of protecting fairness and ensuring the common good. When citizens know that what their government is up to, they have a better chance of ensuring that decisions treat everyone equally and protect the common conditions that are important to everyone's welfare. I've read scores of AG opinions regarding every aspect of open meetings rulings. Please understand that I am speaking today on the subject of transparency, but there's place for both concepts to parallel. True governmental transparency must be interpreted liberally. This means that if there's a question as to interpretation of the possibility that the entity should provide as much access and openness as possible, I believe that true governmental transparency operates with a general premise that meetings of public bodies of a financial capital project or policy-altering nature should be open for observation by the legislative branch. The burden, therefore, is on this administration seeking to engage in closed meetings, prove that the exception applies allowing the closing of such a meeting. This interpretation is not confined to meetings involving quorums of public bodies, but AG opinions over the years have dealt with administrative meetings as well. When visiting the newly designed parish website, there is a citizen transparency icon. If you press it, you will be directed to the page defining transparency and open government. There are goals defined by 3 terms. Transparency, making government information available to the public, is a requirement for an informed citizenry and an accountable government. Participation. Democracy requires opportunities for participation and a collaborative problem-solving whenever possible. This is at the core of the democratic governance. And accessibility. A government serving all of its people needs policies which provide maximum information accessibility and maximum inclusion in the participatory process. Transparency, participation, and accessibility. Also included in your handout are a few emails from the administration regarding their interpretation of transparency, participation, and accessibility. The mere fact that this administration says they have a true and open transparency policy mindset is disingenuous at best. Obstructing open access, even if it's an observatory fashion only, to the legislative branch of meetings regarding the use of public funds, capital outlay projects, and budgetary matters should not be tolerated by this council or the citizens of Lafourche Parish. Debating this issue and coming to an acceptable conclusion is a matter between the administration and the council. And I want to remind the council that the burden is on the administration seeking to engage in closed meetings to prove that an exception applies, allowing closed access. Therefore, I will pose the same question as Councilman Chairman Perilou. Once again, can the public and this council get an explanation as to why the administration forbids access to meetings that ultimately constitutes the formation of public policy of a budgetary nature or construction of capital projects, only to observe and report back to this council and the public? Thank you.
All right, any questions for Mr. Bogalo? Ms. Esposito, your light's on?
Mr. Bagla, you have, and the audience doesn't have this, and I know you shared these emails. In a nutshell, can you tell people here watching as well as that'll watch later on TV, what's the deal with all these emails that went back and forth between you and Mr. Lassang?
I provided 3 emails to the council as, I guess, as a reminder of the 3 different occasions when I asked the administration. One was for the calendar, so that I could go and sit and observe, so that I could report back to the council.
And a calendar, you mean by doing, what is it that you wanted to do?
Yes, ma'am, like the calendar for capital project
In
meetings.
layman's term, you wanted to do what?
To observe the goings-ons of meetings that would formulate capital projects that would be coming forward to you as a council. Anything of a budgetary nature, because the budget process is going to be starting soon.
Okay, and you were told what?
It was a legislative decision, and the answer was no.
By
I would
whom?
not be allowed.
By
I was
whom?
answered by the interim administrator.
So this is prohibiting you doing your job, how so? Do you want to elaborate on what's happening now that?
By not being able to.
Because I know I ask you quite a bit of questions that you can't answer, but is
If
that what
I'm
you're
not,
saying?
if I'm not involved to observe items that come up to the council before in agenda form, I think information is crucial. And I've never asked to participate, I just asked to sit in and observe, along with council as well. And it's just to sit and observe and watch a meeting that would be going on that would involve public monies.
Now, I know I don't have time to sit in meetings, but it would have been greatly helpful for me if you could have and gave us information. And I know that's what all of us are wanting, information.
I sat in on one, if you remember, it was one having to deal with the Council on Aging, and that was an example of the kind of process of the service that I would provide to y'all.
Right.
As soon as the meeting was over, I came in here, typed up a report.
So you were allowed to sit in that one?
It was a one-time thing, yes.
Okay, so then afterward you were denied access?
I asked for the calendar and I was told no.
I asked Mr. Bogala to report back to us on any information he can gain to prep us for budgetary meetings and things like that. I thought it would benefit the legislative branch to have information up front, and basically the door was shut in his face. So I apologize to you about that. Hopefully the administration will realize the error of their ways. Any other questions for Mr. Bogler? Mr. Jones?
Yeah, I like to ask the administration, why can't he sit in the meetings?
Because it's a legislative, not a legislative branch function. That's why. And this went to the district attorney. And there was, this has happened before. I was a councilman. I never sat in on any meetings when I was a councilman. It's because it was more clear cut back then that the district attorney said, I mean, he point blank told me, he said, "You're a councilman. You don't have the right to do that. You're a legislative branch. Stay out." So I did. Mr. Lorraine was there at the time. He's the only one that was there at the time. And it was point blank clear. It was not a legislative function. Legislative branch legislates, makes laws, makes policies, and stuff like that. You all have input into the budget process as it pertains to y'all districts as pump stations, recreation issues. Y'all made several budget amendments and stuff like that. Y'all have all that input. But to think that we're going to have, when we're in negotiation with primarily Mr. Cantrell is in negotiation with, and sometimes Mr. Bourne, say an engineer on a project, to think that we're going to notify somebody, to have somebody in there on all those negotiations is irrational. I mean, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, well, I hope it would happen, because definitely, I wouldn't take your word or Cantrell's word. And since you don't want him in a meeting, but you raised all kind of hell when Charlotte was the president to go in all kind of meetings. But Mr. Chairman, at this time, since they have more meetings right here between itself, I would like for you to put a chair right there for Mr. Bogler to start in the next meeting. And maybe we can get some input, because he got 2 years. You can hear on each side. Thank you.
Mr. Grove?
I just had a question. If I can get a copy of what you read. I was looking through my notes. I thought we all had a copy of it, but I don't think all of us have a copy of speech. So if you could just give me that. And then, did you, when you first took the office as the auditor, there was some confusion about computers. You have everything you need, but
Yes,
printers
sir.
and
After
computers
6
and all.
weeks,
Okay.
yes, sir.
All right. And then I see one of the things was about Munis. You have access to Munis?
Yes.
So some of the stuff you can find.
I
in there.
can, when I was asking for hard copies, there's a reason why. Only knowing my history of parish government, there are documents that have signatures
Sure.
that you cannot see in Munis.
I just want to make
And
sure
it matters,
you can get.
and it matters, and it's something that y'all
Absolutely.
can put your hands on and y'all can put your eyes on.
Absolutely. I mean, I had an issue with something like
Yes,
that
sir.
recently. Did hit home. So but I was just making sure you had
Yes,
access
sir.
to Munis. Okay.
Mr. Melvin?
Just a quick question. Thank you for your report, Reggie. And I was wondering, do you know, or maybe Mr. Lasang knows, is this not allowed by the charter? What is it? Is
My
it charter?
position is in the charter, and there is nothing prohibiting them from allowing
Okay.
observation.
Because there's a difference between the charter not allowing and them not allowing. And the big picture here, folks with government, again, is we work for the people. I'm here for the people. Of course, there's some things you can't be in on because it's sensitive to administration. I can understand where some meetings you can be, like what you stated. But the big picture is work for the people. If you have nothing to hide, I don't see why you shouldn't be at these meetings myself.
Mr.
And the charter allows
LaFont?
it.
Yeah, and interim, whatever he is over there, he is correct. It is it's a administration thing. But when you're going to put on your website, transparency and open government, then what would you be hiding not to allow somebody to come in and sit? And you don't want to negotiate. You might as well just go put OPEC and closed government. Change it, because it's not transparent. And I understand, I don't think he wants to be in every meeting, but there's a few that might be able to bring us together as a council. Mr. Jimmy can't answer questions at the meeting, or maybe if he's there sitting in, then we won't have to ask Mr. Jimmy the questions that he can't answer. But I can tell you, this is my 5th year, 6th year sitting on this council, and 4 years with the parish administration, and maybe they didn't do a good job with pumps, but I've never asked a question where they didn't answer it, or at least give me some kind of answer, or say I'm going to get back with you as soon as I get the answer. I'm not going to say I'm not answering it. That's just disheartening for the public. So that's all I've got to say.
All right, no more questions. Thank you, Mr. Bogler. Any legal advisor reports? None. Public wishing to address the council?
Yes, sir. Mr. Danny Lede, if you'd approach the podium. I don't see him. He didn't make it, huh? No. He's not here, Mr. Chairman.
All right, moving right along. Section I, ordinances for discussion and ratification.
Mr.
I don't
Chairman,
think there are none of those either.
I'd
Mr.
like
Grove.
move we suspend the rules and consider, move to deviate to L43 if possible. Anybody would second that?
I'll second it.
All right. L43 is the appointment of a registrar of voters, and I'm pulling that because we have some unfinished business according to the district attorney's office. So we have to start the interview process again. So number 23 is hereby pulled. 43.
43.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. We are back to section I, and I don't think there's anything under section I.
Mr. Chairman, we didn't get a vote, I don't think, to move in, so I think we might want to do it because we might have somebody complain about it.
Yeah, let's vote on moving to,
Just second. He says it might. I know who seconded.
who seconded?
He's not hearing it, Mr. Bourgeois.
Bourgeois
Okay.
sec- But I don't think we voted.
Mr. Bourgeois seconded to move to section L43. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. I pulled number 43.
He motioned to close, Mike, you want a motion to close it? Go back to regular, I second.
Second, all in favor? Any opposed? Being none, 9-0. Section I, there are none. Section J, public hearing and ordinances for ratification. Can we get a motion to open? Moved by Mr. Bourgeois, second by
Second.
Mr. Melvin. All in favor? Any opposed? 9-0. Number 8, ordinance providing for a 2017 supplemental appropriation, 17-008, within the 2017 operations and maintenance budget and capital budget to deobligate funding for the Rita Bridge BR 009 and transfer the grant funding from LA Government Assistance Program number 1314 LFR 0001 to East Camellia Drive Waterline Project 11030 in the amount of $39,800 and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transaction and provide for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter, moved by Mr. Grow. Second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion from the audience? One time, two times, three times, being none from the council? Mr. Jones.
Just like to ask Mr. O'Tang, everything is good? You okay with it?
Yes, and thank you, Jerry, for asking that. I still don't know why the previous administration moved this money. Matter of fact, the Water District wasn't exactly sure why they were requested to do this work. But it's been done, the Water District did it, and I have a commitment, we have in writing that they're going to work with us, and I know the administration is working on a grant to redo the water lines in Rita. So it's something I've been after for quite a few years, which is why I was a little disheartened when I saw they were pulling money out of Rita when we really need new water lines. But they're on it, administration's on it, and the Water District's on it, so I appreciate everybody's input, and I thank you, Mike, for holding off until we got that straight.
All right. Move to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 9, ordinance rescinding ordinance number 5884, which is ratified by the Lafourche Parish Council on the April 11th, 2017 Lafourche Parish Council meeting, which provided a variance from the Lafourche Parish Subdivision Regulations, Chapter 22, Article 6, Division 5, Fire Hydrants, Section 22-482-2, from the installation of a fire hydrant and redivision of Lot 2-Alpha into Lot 2-Alpha-1 and 2-Alpha-1 Bravo on the property of Shane Duplantis, as recommended by the Lafourche Parish Planning Commission at their February 23rd, 2017 meeting, moved by Mr. Lafont. Second by Mr. Otang. Any discussion, Mr. Bourgeois?
Yes, I'd like,
Oh, I'm sorry, public comments, one time? Sorry about that. Name and address for the record,
Good
please.
afternoon, Pat Mathern, Lafourche Parish Government, 4876 Highway 1, Matthews. Since the meeting that was granted, Mr. Duplantis no longer needs to have a variance for this. The Water District, we got with the Water, Dwayne Gautreaux from the Water District, they're actually extending the line to where they're going to put the last water, the fire hydrant is going to be 460 feet from Mr. Duplantis' property. Therefore, he doesn't need the variance. He won't even have to put his own fire hydrant. I did get a letter from Mr. Wayne Gotro. It was dated, an email May 8th, and it says, Mr. Pat, the fire hydrant will be placed approximately 460 feet from his property corner.
Okay, so basically the problem solved. Mr. Otam?
I just want to thank you for all your work on that, Ms. Pat.
You're welcome.
Mr. Bourgeois?
Yes, we have a district attorney opinion on the letter that I'd like Ms. Carlene to read, please.
She don't have it.
Okay, I came straight here from work, so I didn't.
Okay, maybe
But
next
basically,
time.
we have a district attorney opinion that says that once we grant a variance, that we become liable for anything if we revoke it, whether it's 1 day or 1 year down the road. And Mr. Lafont, you said, welcome to politics. Well, welcome to the law. If you change the law like that, you become liable to it.
Mr. Otam?
Yeah, so Mr. Bourgeois, we understand what you're saying. However, once we approve it, the planning commission still has to go to them, and that did not happen, so no action was taken. But secondly, and I'll continue to fight against variances, you approved an ordinance that has no teeth. So in that statement, it said that this guy's going to maintain that hydrant. And if he didn't, then what?
We got a lot of laws with no teeth. Try to enforce
Well, you're
garbage.
talking about law. You
want to talk about laws? I mean, we no teeth. We can go down to building permits. We can go to trash collection. We can go. I mean, we can do all kinds of laws that have no teeth. I mean, look, I could speak from now till next Tuesday about laws we have with no teeth.
Mr. Lafont?
Yeah, I just want to let Mr. Bourgeois know that I know the law, and there's been several ordinances that's been pulled in several instances, even, and not only in our parish, but other parishes too. So, you know, if tomorrow we decide we don't want fireworks, guess what? Everybody got a utility pole with their fireworks stand. We're not going to pay for it. They just going to lose out. And so there you go. I think they got to win in court too.
All right, so we'll move it to vote to rescind ordinance number 5884. Any other public comments? 2 times, 3 times, being none? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Nay. Passes 8-1. Mr. Bourgeois. Number 10, ordinance establishing a no parking fire lane on both sides of the street in the 2500 block of West Camellia Drive, Thibodaux, Louisiana, Ward 1, District 1, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, installing the necessary no parking fire lane signs and providing penalties for the violations thereof. Moved by Mr. Jones, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any comment from the public? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, being none. From the council, being none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Get a motion to close? Moved by Mr. Jones, second by Mr. Lafont. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Closing public hearing and ordinances for ratification. Mrs. Sposito, can you go ahead and run through these proposed ordinances, please?
Number 11, proposed ordinance to accept the subdivision known as Highland Oaks, Phase 2 in the parish system. Councilman Melvin for administration. Number 12, proposed ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2017 on all the properties subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche criminal tax rolling forward. Councilman Lorraine for administration. Number 13, proposed ordinance levying and imposing tax for 2017 on all property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche, drainage, health, and library rolling forward. Councilman Lorraine for administration. 14, proposed ordinance levying and imposing tax for 2017 on all the property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche, general alimony rolling forward. Councilman Lorraine for administration. Number 15, proposed ordinance for levying and imposing tax for 2017 on all the property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche, recreation district number 11 rolling forward. Councilman Lorraine for administration. 16, proposed ordinance levying and imposing tax for 2017 on all the property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche Road, District Number 1, rolling forward. Councilman Lorraine for administration. 17, proposed ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2017 on all the property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche, Special Service, District Number 1, rolling forward. Councilman Lorraine for administration. Number 18, proposed ordinance levying and imposing tax for 2017 on all the property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche, Council on Aging. Councilman Lorraine for administration. 19, proposed ordinance levying and imposing tax for 2017 on all the property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche, drainage district, parish-wide. Councilman Lorraine for administration. Number 20, proposed ordinance levying and imposing tax for 2017 on all the property subject to taxation in the Parish of Lafourche Fire Protection District Number 9, Councilman Lorraine for administration. 21, proposed ordinance levying and imposing tax for 2017 on all the property subject to taxation in the Parish of Lafourche Fire District Number 1, Councilman Lorraine for administration. 22, proposed ordinance levying and imposing tax for 2017 on all the property subject to taxation in the Parish of Lafourche Fire Protection District Number 7, Councilman Lorraine for administration. 23, proposed ordinance levying and imposing tax for 2017 on all the property subject to taxation in the Parish of Lafourche Health Unit, Councilman Lorraine for the administration. 24, proposed ordinance levying and imposing tax for 2017 on all the property subject to taxation in the Parish of Lafourche Public Building, Councilman Lorraine for the administration. 25, proposed ordinance levying and imposing tax for 2017 on all the property subject to taxation in the Parish of Lafourche Recreation District Number 2, Councilman Lorraine for the administration. 26, proposed ordinance levying and imposing tax for 2017 on all the property subject to taxation in the Parish of Lafourche Recreation District Number 8, Councilman Lorraine for administration. 27, proposed ordinance levying and imposing tax for 2017 on all the property subject to taxation in the Parish of Lafourche Recreational Facilities, Councilman Lorraine for administration. 28, proposed ordinance levying and imposing tax for 2017 on all the property subject to taxation in the Parish of Lafourche Veterans Memorial District, Ward 10, Councilman Lorraine for administration. 29, proposed ordinance levying and imposing tax for 2017 on all the property subject to taxation in the Parish of Lafourche criminal tax, Councilman Lorraine for administration. 30, proposed ordinance levying and imposing tax for 2017 on all the property subject to taxation in the Parish of Lafourche drainage, health, and library, Councilman Lorraine for administration.
We have to take a little break.
Okay. Oh, you can go.
We'll call a recess for about 10 minutes and take a break.
Oh, it's good.
We're going to call a 10-minute recess. We'll pick that back up when we get back. It's 6:50, meeting's called back to order. Ms. Esposito, number 30 was your last proposed ordinance.
31, proposed ordinance levying and imposing tax for 2017 on all the properties subject to taxation in the Parish of Lafourche General Alimony, Councilman Lorraine for administration. 32, proposed ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2017 on all the properties subject to taxation in the Parish of Lafourche Recreation District Number 11, Councilman Lorraine for administration. 33, proposed ordinance levying and imposing taxes 2017 on all the property subject to taxation in the Parish of Lafourche Road District Number 1, Councilman Lorraine for administration. 34, proposed ordinance levying and imposing tax for 2017 on all the property subject to taxation in the Parish of Lafourche Special Service District Number 1, Councilman Lorraine for administration. 35, proposed ordinance levying and imposing tax for 2017 on all the property subject to taxation in the Parish of Lafourche Fire Protection District Number 4, Councilman Lorraine for administration. 36, proposed ordinance levying and imposing tax for 2017 on all the property subject to taxation in the Parish of Lafourche Library, Councilman Lorraine for administration. 37, proposed ordinance levying and imposing tax for 2017 on all the property subject to taxation in the Parish of Lafourche Library, Councilman Lorraine for administration. 38, proposed ordinance approving the lease agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and Vacherie Gaines Community Center to utilize the community center for recreational purposes and authorize the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said lease agreement and any and all relevant documents. Councilman Perilou for administration. 39, proposed ordinance amending ordinance number 5877 that amended ordinance number 5833, which adopted the 2017 operations and capital budget for the Lafourche Parish Council, as well as setting salaries of the unclassified employees as provided for by Article 5 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Proposed by Councilman Lorraine for administration. 40, proposed ordinance approving the lease agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and Upper 10 LLC to utilize property for recreational purposes, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said lease agreement and any and all relevant documents. Councilman Perilou for administration. 41, proposed ordinance providing for the 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-009 within the 2017 operation and maintenance budget to correct the carry-forward balances for 2016 projects and to adjust specific projects, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transaction as provided for by the Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Councilman Lorraine for administration. 42, proposed ordinance providing for 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-010 within the 2017 operations and maintenance budget to correct funding of water park at Bayou Blue Recreation 14012, since the consolidation of recreation districts by Lafourche Parish Government, and to add additional funding to cover the expenses from Recreation District 11, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transaction as provided for by Article 6 of Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Councilman Bourgeois for administration.
All right, thank you. All right, Section L we covered already. That was pulled. We're going to move on to Section M, resolutions. Number 44, resolution approving a lease agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and Xerox for a multifunction copy machine, Whiskey 7970 Papa for the Finance Department, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? Being none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? It passes 8-0-1. Mr. Lafont. Number 45, resolution appointing one member to the Recreation District Number 2 Board. I have a name, and I'm going to need somebody to move on that for me. Mr. Lorraine, I'm nominating Mr. Mark Araby.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1. Congratulations, Mr. Araby. Number 46, resolution reappointing one member to the Fire Protection District Number 8 Alpha Board, sponsored by Ms. Sposito.
I nominate Mr. Delbert Harris.
Mr. Jones will second that nomination. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1. Number 47, resolution appointing one member to the Hospital Service District Number 3 Board, Mr. Grow.
Mr. Daniel Cavell.
Second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? 8-0-1 passes. Congratulations, Mr. Cavell. Number 48, resolution appointing one member to the Fire Protection District Number 8 Charlie Board. Moved by Ms. Sposito.
Mr. Travis Chasson.
Second by Mr. Jerry Jones. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1. Congratulations. Number 49, resolution reappointing two members to the Fire Protection District Number 8 Bravo Board. Ms. Sposito.
Mr. Leroy Cortez and Mr. Craig Rink.
Second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations. Passes 8-0-1. Number 50, resolution appointing one member to the Bayou Blue Fire Protection District of the Lafourche, of the Parish of Terrebonne and Lafourche Board, Mr. Bourgeois.
I appoint Mr. Jason Grow.
Second by Mr. Otan. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1. Congratulations. Number 51, resolution approving the low bid of Extreme Pump and Supply LLC for the purchase of one complete pump package for the Lower Pointe-aux-Champs pump station and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Bourgeois. Second by Mr. Melvin. You seconding it? No? Second by Mr. Grow. Any discussion? There must be discussion since nobody wanted to step up to second. Mr. Jones.
Did we have two bids on it, or Associated Pump did not send a response back? No.
Mr. Barnes did give me some email traffic on this right when the meeting started. And he turned over the bidding process to Tara, a purchasing specialist. And she solicited for the bids, and that's what came back. So, Mr. Barnes, you want to speak on that to clarify it for us?
We do the specifications on the pump. We send them to Ms. Tara LeBlanc, our purchasing agent. It goes through Central Auction House. Okay? Okay. And they do all the public advertising. You can get the bid packages there. And it's just everybody just bids on it, whoever wants to bid on it. But in this particular case, it was only two suppliers, Associated Pump and Extreme Pump. Associated Pump did not turn in all their documents, so they was disqualified. So that's the reason why we wound up with just this one bid.
Okay, thank you.
And that's the reason why I give y'all a deal on kind of how the bid process goes and the federal bid law.
Appreciate it.
I had a quick question. I know three's always been a magic number at our fire station. When we need things, three's the number. So there, you had two, or were there three?
Two. And one was incomplete.
Okay, making sure. Because on this correspondence we were given before the meeting, it says the threshold is, according to this, is $10,000 to $30,000, and this is for 89, I believe. So.
Yes, when you got to put it out for public bid, okay? It can be 1 or 1,000,
Okay.
as long as one. But when you're getting quotes under 30,000, between 10 and 30,000, you need to get 3 quotes, okay? And that's the way that works.
Or you need to ask for 3 quotes.
Yeah,
at the
or
minimum.
get, yeah, phone,
Okay,
whatever.
Mr. Bourgeois.
Hey, I just want to say that, hey, I appreciate the concerns with the bid law and all of that, but we're talking about pumps to people, and I mean, it seems that we want to keep people's houses from flooding, and I see no reason why we'd want to hold up buying a pump to save the residents of Pontiac. I mean, isn't that what we're here for, is drainage and all of that? And I understand different things like that, but let's move forward pumps and let's get things done.
I just think the difference is, James just explained it, that this wasn't going out for quotes. This is a bid job. You can have only one bidder.
That's right.
So you don't necessarily need 3 on getting prices, you need 3.
The request was made.
Right. It was a bid job.
Mr. Otan.
Yes, in an effort to follow the law, though, I think we just want to make sure we were clear. But, so James, so there was only one positive response in the advertisement. Do you agree that that's a good price? We should move forward? That's my question.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. We'll move it to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 52, resolution accepting the low bid from Hana Enterprises, Inc. in the amount of $29,974 for the purchase and installation of new bleachers at the Raceland Recreation Center, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer an agreement and any and all relevant documents. Can someone move for me? Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion? I'm just glad this is finally getting repaired, folks. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 53, resolution reappointing one commissioner to represent the Lafourche Parish District Attorney's Office to the Lafourche Parish Children and Youth Planning Board, Mr. Nooney Otan.
This is Jennifer Richard.
Can we get a second? Mr. LaFont seconds that. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 54, resolution authorizing the submission of a grant application under the FY 2018-2019 Louisiana Community Development Block Grant LCDBG program for Reeder Street water line repairs, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Otam. Second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Being none, passes 9-0. Number 56, resolution approving an agreement. I'm sorry, I wrote it down on the wrong one. Number 55, resolution authorizing the submission of a grant application under the FY 2018-2019 Louisiana Community Development Block Grant LCDBG program for Marydale Sewer System Improvements, and authorizing parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones. Second by Mr. Grove. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 56, resolution approving an agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and Capital Area Finance Authority, known as Authority, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Grove. Second by Ms. Sposito. Any discussion?
Yeah.
Mr. LaFont.
I noticed on there it says that it's between us and East Baton Rouge. Why would we be just them two parishes, or why would we be together with just East Baton Rouge? Can anybody answer that, please?
This is just a program for low to moderate income borrowers where they offer assistance for these types of people. I was approached by some real estate people in the area and was contacted by, we have somebody here if you want to explain it to you guys further, but basically it just offers assistance. Any monies earned, which should be minimal, we split with them. We get 50% of it, and it helps people get into some
I just
homes.
was curious on why East Baton Rouge Parish and Lafourche Parish, which is nice, because maybe I can apply. I own a house in both parishes, so.
All right, if you want to enlighten us a little bit, name and address for the record, please.
Hi, I am Ashley Logan, representing the Capital Area Finance Authority of Baton Rouge. My address there is 601 St. Ferdinand Street, Baton Rouge, Louisiana 70802. We are the Capital Area Finance Authority. We are a housing finance agency out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. East Baton Rouge Parish is our beneficiary. We have a geographic territory of East Baton Rouge Parish and the 8 parishes that touch it, so a total of 9 parishes. Within those 9 parishes, we created programs that offer down payment and closing cost assistance in the form of a grant to qualified borrowers that are looking to purchase homes. We launched those programs in the fall of 2014. We then saw really good progress with those programs in our parishes and were approached by other parishes to bring our programs there. We then started this cooperative endeavor agreement process and then took our programs out to all 5 parishes of Imperial Calcasieu. We're on the North Shore in all 3 parishes there, and recently just added Terrebonne Parish. When we launched some of these programs in Terrebonne Parish, it then created requests and calls that came into us from loan officers and real estate agents here in Lafourche Parish requesting that they can offer these programs to their qualified borrowers here as well. Because this is not part of our geographic territory, we then have to go to either the local housing finance agency or parish government for approval before we can offer these programs. The reason that we need this approval is because we do receive fee income on each loan that is a product of this program. And as per our agreement, we are going to revenue share and split the proceeds 50-50. So each month, Lafourche Parish will receive a check from us, the Capital Area Finance Authority, for 50% of the fees that we collect on all production in Lafourche Parish for the previous month.
Okay, any further questions?
Yeah, and when I first spoke with Ashley and got all the information, I passed it on to administration as well as Fredia. She was very excited about it and feels there's a strong need for this.
Sounds like a win-win situation to me.
I think you did a great job in explaining it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right, being no more comments, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 57, resolution adopting a new procurement policy in connection with the Housing and Urban Development HUD, Community Development Block Grant, CDBG programs, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Otan, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 58, resolution requesting the Lafourche Parish Council to review and approve the selection criteria for the Lafourche Parish Head Start Children for the Lafourche Parish Head Start Children for the 2017 to 2018 school year per Head Start Performance Standard number 1302.4, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Melvin. Second by Ms. Sposito. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 59, resolution approving an agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and South Central Planning and Development Commission in the amount of $43,000 for the performance of administrative services in the preparation of an LCDBG application for Rita Street waterline repairs and to serve as a grant administrator in the event funding is awarded, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine. Second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? Being none, you got something?
They get paid only if they get the grant, right?
I don't know, you sponsoring it.
No, but I sponsored it for the administration, okay? I'm just trying to find out, because we had a grants writer, now we don't have one, so now we're going to South Central Planning?
There's a small fee if they don't get the grant, like the application fee that we have to put up, but if they get it, it all comes out the grant.
That's what I thought, but I wanted to make sure.
Good deal. All right, any other discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 60, resolution approving an agreement between the Lafourche Parish Government and South Central Planning and Development Commission in the amount of $43,000 for the performance of administrative services in the preparation of an LCDBG application for Maridale sewer system improvements and to serve as a grant administrator in the event funding is awarded, and it authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? Mr. Jones?
Yes, Mr. Lorraine, I want to know why you in Marydale.
Why?
Yeah,
I was called.
you was called, so much for the transparency there now.
I'm never gonna tell them no if I think it should be on.
Yeah, so much for the transparency then, because nobody called me on it.
Well,
Same as item 59.
did you call me?
You know?
Did you call me once? You've been having your agenda since Thursday.
Well, I'm
You never
asking
called me.
your name
I
on
thought
it
you were gonna be
already.
in Baton Rouge by now.
Your name already.
That's
on
right.
it, you know? So I guess you want to be the assistant parish president.
VP.
You do what you want. I thought you'd be in the Senate according to the way you were talking the other day.
Yeah,
You're far
well-
from that.
Well, you was far from it too when you ran, didn't you?
I had 8%, you had 4.
Yeah. Well, you only had
correct. I
2
doubled you
parishes.
up.
I had 8
All right.
parishes.
I doubled you up.
Gentlemen, that's enough. I would like to chime in on that Senate race, though.
Yeah.
I was pulling for you, Mr. Jones.
Yeah, but-
But at the same time, I'm very happy that you're still on this council and you're going to be here through the duration.
And Mr. Chairman, that's the cause I got, to stay on this council to watch Daniel Lorraine.
All right.
I'm moving up, man. I'm moving up.
Being no more discussion on number 60, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 61, resolution providing for a change in the scope of project number 17011 for the purchase of cameras at pump stations within the 2017 operations and maintenance budget and the capital outlay budget to include the purchase of cameras for any parish building and any boat launch, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. Bourgeois. So, Mr. LaFont.
What's the cost on the cameras? I don't see it in this here.
We had, I believe, 225 allocated, and the cost, when we first did it, it was just the pump stations, and the bids were, I believe, around 40 or 50 for most of the pump stations. Now, each one costs about $7,000, $8,000.
A camera?
Some more, some less. Well, the installation and everything is all, yeah, well, it's all remote, access and everything. It's not, I mean, you can see it.
Yeah, I've seen some systems cost a lot less than that.
Well, some isolated
That-
places
that-
that needed power or stuff like that. It's just different things. They weren't that much. And
All
then
running power and all too, okay.
we had a situation here where OEP asked if we could put some cameras here because they had messed with community council on aging's trucks, and then pump stations and boat launch are obvious.
So what's the
needs.
total cost?
Well, each one's individual. The most we have only budgeted, I think, $2.25.
Yeah.
We had
If
budgeted that
If we
last
save
year.
one pump, I guess it's worth it.
Oh, yeah.
Because we did have some damage to some of the pumps already. All right, thank you.
I have a question.
Ms. Posito.
Do you plan on putting one in the council office? Or is that separate? That would be something we'd have to cover the cost to do.
You want it, we can put one.
Pardon me?
You want it, we can put one.
So you can if,
Well, I thought about with the stuff with the missing tapes, putting one, like each floor, probably you could put one going into the back door where Colleen's office is, and then one going into where Michelle sits, and the second floor, I think 2 on each floor. In fact,
Okay.
on the third floor, you could do it one location going each way, and you could catch just about everything, unless Jimmy came in and snuck in his office or something, but he probably don't know how to get in there anyway. No,
Okay.
we've considered that, and if this passes, we'll just see how much we have. But the first thing, I think, is the boat launches and the pump station, because
Right.
that's, well.
I'm sorry,
the
but
pumps-
y'all gonna be trying after a while to go get some tax money from the people, And I ain't voting for cameras if we don't have enough money to pick up the garbage. Any other comments?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Harbor
Mr.
Freight
Jones.
got it for $200,
Harbor Freight, $200.
and you can pick them up on your phone.
Mr. LaFont, you done?
Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
All right, move it to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Nay. Passes 8-1. Number 62, resolution approving an agreement between Lafourche Parish government owner and Leonard Chauvin, PEPLS Inc., engineer for engineering services for the project entitled Proposed/Park Project, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Bourgeois. Second by Mr. Lorraine. Any discussion?
What's the cost of that now? I know it started off, when Mr. Arnold was there, it was like way below 100,000. I think it was now, I don't know what the cost is now, if we can get that.
The money budgeted when Mr. Arnold was there one time, so I wrote the budget amendments, was, I think, 100, and then next year he put in 120, with the remainder was going to be put up by District 11, the Bayou Blue Recreation District. The total project cost is going to be $395,000. They have the money to supplement the 220 that the parish had put up, so they're going to put up approximately 175 and have the fund, and they still will have money left in their separate Recreation District 11 account.
Put your mark in here.
I was going to say their separate money is because they have a separate millage tax district, and that's where the money's coming from.
But I just, that project went from costing for a water park for under $100,000 to almost a $500,000. It's pretty crazy for a
When it
water
was
park.
conceived, we had really no idea what it would cost. When Councilman Arnold asked me to put the money in the budget, I said, well, how much you want to put? He said, I don't know, 100,000. And that's what we did. It never got off the ground with the past administration. The next year, he added 120, or maybe it was vice versa, but it's about 220, the parish's portion. And when it came back and they had an alternate and the board voted to go with the alternate with some parking and everything. They have a nice facility in Bayou Blue. I know most of y'all probably haven't been there, but they got 40-something acres. They got the potential to be as good as Raceland is. They have a basketball court. They're right next to the school, the library. They got a good facility, and they're putting up a large portion of the money out of there, and they still get their millage. I think they just renewed it. I think they get it for 10 more years. There's only 3 that still get it, them, Gaines, and Raceland.
All right, any more questions on this? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Section N, questions for the administration, session 2. LaFont, your mic's still on? Ms. Posito?
Well, I have a question. I'm not sure if it's for administration, but I guess I would like your input on it. I didn't send it ahead of time, though. A resident called me up on Laurel Valley Road. There's always about 30 or 40, 50 bicyclists riding down Laurel Valley Road, and they get really upset when they can't pass. Is there a law that says how many, I know, and I explained to the resident we have to share the roadway, but do y'all know of any, I see no one's here from LPSO, but there's not, he said, well, could they at least just be forced to put 10? He wants us to pass some sort of law prohibiting how many groups of cyclists can ride together. He was having some road rage issues. Is that?
Listen, a bicycle has just as much right on the road as, so we can't, that's the state law, and we can't make that, and.
Have any of you gotten those calls as well?
No.
I think people don't understand.
We don't have good, we can't ride it, we don't even have a shoulder down the bayou, so you either paddle on a boat or can't ride a bike on the road.
Right, so there isn't anything.
Ms. Placido, I gotten a call from somebody in your district about it, and I said, I'm not sure if they could even make a law, because he, a contractor that goes on that road frequently, and I realize it is dangerous. Maybe you can get with the sheriff, or I can get with the sheriff, or maybe Josh can get with the sheriff, and we can find out if it's possible where maybe they need a permit when they have 10 or more bikes, because one's still dangerous, because I run into them all the time on 311.
That's ridiculous.
But they have a shoulder.
But I mean, if they have just as many rights as a vehicle does, then,
I don't know
I
if
mean,
the law
a car
can work.
doesn't need a special permit.
No, that's what I'm saying, we can find out.
And it is dangerous, but.
It's gonna open up to is a funeral procession. You got more than 10 cars following each other, they're gonna have to get a permit too. I think we opening up a can of worms
Right.
that we don't wanna have to open up. Just be patient with the bicyclists, man. Come on, we're trying to get skinny in Lafourche Parish.
Where,
let him know you
where
said
are
that.
we with the, road, with the, speed bumps in your district in, Kramer?
We're nowhere. The police, the sheriff's office went to go and meet with the people out there. There's a group of Bayou Buff, I guess, that'll come out here, I'm hoping next week. And they have a few issues to address. I haven't been given a list of the issues, but I'm sure they'll address them when they're here, but that's one of the things. I'm being required to go through the sheriff's office, as you know, to do that process of, and the family representative, it's all elderly people in their 80s. One woman is legally blind, and the son, who works offshore, is going to be the family spokesperson, but he's been out of town working. So that's been the holdup with him being able to meet with the sheriff's office to go and start, these few families to sign this paper that put back what was already there.
The sad part about it is there was 3 speed bumps on a parish leased road. They resurfaced the road, the speed bumps were taken off. Now the administration is making them go back and jump through hoops to start from day one, where they could have sent a truck down there, and 30 minutes later, those 3 speed bumps would have been back in place, and those people would not have to worry about speeding vehicles running over 80-year-old citizens.
Right, so I guess the administration stance is still that
Yes,
they have to go through the process?
they still refuse to budge on that.
Mr. Cantrell? That still is to go through the sheriff's office for those 3 speed bumps
We have no choice.
on a lane,
We have
on an
no choice.
11-foot wide lane.
We have to go through the
Okay,
sheriff's office.
hopefully they'll be able to come in and address it appropriately next council meeting.
Should they send him any questions in advance if they come? All right, Section O, council reports, presentations, updates, or questions, any? Being none, moving right along. Section P, discussion. I have an item for discussion before we adjourn. Number 63 is regarding forming an Outstanding Citizen Award Committee. It's an idea that I've been kicking around for probably better than a year now since we all got elected this term. And I think it's a good idea to start rewarding or recognizing at the minimum people that contribute to our society and to our parish. So I want to call it the Outstanding Citizen Award. I'd like to get a committee together of at least 4 people. It don't have to be all council members. It can be anybody in government or not in government that would want to participate in the process. Any questions on this, Mr. Bowe? Go ahead, Mr.
No, I was going to say we got a unanimous agenda.
Oh, okay.
I was just going to say that depending on how you want to frame this, and since it's your brainchild, you could probably just talk to a handful of council members or 3 council members, I guess, in coming up with a ground rule that you can sponsor. I don't know if you have to form a committee on this, which I understand where you're going, but remember, a committee, as we just learned with the last process we went through, you're going to need minutes, you're going to need a chair, you're going to need a co-chair, it's going to be this, that, the other, and jumping through all kind of hoops. I don't know if that's where you want to go with this, even though I appreciate what you're trying to do, and I'm all for it. Maybe you ought to just get some input from different council members who want to maybe have some input on that, come up with a criteria, and then go with it.
That's what I was asking
think
for,
we
a
need-
committee for criteria for input, but that's another good idea. We could just do that and solicit.
Starting a committee, I
We
think is a
just
nightmare.
talk.
Yeah, we can just discuss it and bring ideas. Okay, Ms. Esposito?
I'm on the next item. When you're done with that, I had something else to bring up.
Okay, I'm done.
There was someone here that wished to address the council regarding tax. Can he do that right now?
You'll
I'll
relinquish time?
I will.
Okay, Ms. Esposito will. All right, if you state your name and address for the record. You got 3 minutes, sir.
Cody Blanchard, 110 East 9th Street in Thibodaux. My apologies for not filling out a cord. Council and Administration, I'm Cody Blanchard. I'm the chairman of the board for the Thibodaux Chamber of Commerce. I'm here today to express our opposition against the proposed 310 sales tax increase. As Lafourche Parish continues to grow, the Thibodaux Chamber of Commerce will work to ensure that we are partners in progress throughout our entire parish. Our organization is membership-driven and comprised of businesses and professionals who continuously work to strengthen the business climate and quality of life throughout Lafourche Parish. This mission of improving our business climate, even in a historic economic downturn, is why our organization is deeply concerned with the current effort to raise sales taxes in Lafourche Parish. The Thibodaux Chamber of Commerce strongly opposes any additional taxes within our community. Our region, and particularly our parish, has lost more jobs per capita than any other area in the state of Louisiana. Over 11,000 residents have lost their jobs in Lafourche and Terrebonne parishes, and many of those who are still working have seen their salaries, benefits, and hours cut. The reality of our situation is that our families, our businesses, our economy, and our region cannot absorb an additional 310 sales tax. Our tax burden is among the highest in our region, and our region is amongst the highest in the nation. Continuing to add to this burden will take us out of competition with other parishes in other states, which will only serve to narrow our tax base. This narrowing of the tax base will result in Lafourche Parish and other local taxing authorities collecting less tax revenue in the future. As your Chamber of Commerce, we are asking that you do not pass this proposal to raise taxes throughout Lafourche Parish. We will continue to help our existing businesses grow, attract new businesses to our area, and encourage buying locally. Combined, these efforts will broaden our tax base and increase your sales tax revenue. These efforts will assist in growing funds to support our education, healthcare, infrastructure, levy protection, and more. Again, we ask that you help us grow our tax base in Lafourche Parish by refusing to continue to try and take more than we can support. Help us help you in the long term by not pricing us out of competition with other markets in and outside of Louisiana. Thank you.
Wait.
Mr. Lorraine.
Are you familiar with this?
From what we were told is that we were short possibly $200,000 and there was a 0.3% increase.
Are you familiar with how this happened?
No, sir, I'm not.
We went to the voters in 1985 or 1986, and we asked for a 1 cent sales tax for garbage and trash and recycle.
Correct.
We were the first parish in the state to recycle.
Correct.
Okay, in 1997, we rolled back 0.3 because we accumulated a lot of money. And what we did with the 1 cent sales tax, when it was put on the ballot and passed, the people used to pay $5 a month on the water bill, plus the millage in that area, depending on how much millage it was. So we're probably the only elected body that has ever rolled back a sales tax, because we're waiting on an opinion from the Attorney General, and they never had a case like this. Whoever rolled back a tax? We were being nice by giving back the people for 20 years. We gave them back the 0.3. Is the chamber willing to pay the garbage bill at the end of the year when we're not going to have enough money to pay it? Y'all going to pay it? Somebody got to pay it. We have a contract with these people. There's a lot of things you can do. I don't think the people would be 2 and 2s of picking up garbage once a week. I doubt that seriously throughout the whole parish. And this affects everybody but Thibodaux. It affects Lockport, Golden Meadow, and the rest of the parish. We're not putting back something that we didn't already have. We already had voter approval. That's why we're waiting on the Attorney General. That's why we got something on the unanimous agenda for Mr. Richard to look into. And if it would be a new tax, I could see you wanting to oppose it, but we already had the voter approval on that. But I don't know how it's going to go because it's very complicated. According to the Attorney General, he says they never had a case like that. Like, the people gave you some money and you gave it back to them? Yes, that's what we did.
Which is respectable. I agree with that.
That's what we did. But now we're in a situation that the $20 million or the $17 million, as the years went on, we tapped into it because of the cost, because of more people. So now we're at the point where we don't have any more surplus. At the end of the year, we got to find some money to pay this. You think, I don't like taxes. I don't usually vote for taxes. But either you're going to pick it up or it's going to pile up. And if the chamber wants to pay for it, God bless you.
Mr. LaFont?
I want to thank you for opposing it. Mr. Lorraine don't pay property tax, so it's easy for him to, absorb that 0.3. I pay property tax, right? He's tax exempt. It's easy for him to say that, okay? But appreciate you, because like you're saying, we stop losing business, guess what? The taxes are going to drop. Because people are going to stop shopping here. They're already talking about stop shopping here, and I appreciate it. But I can tell you, I don't think a tax will pass this council. I really don't. talks about how we're gonna fund it. There's lots of ways to fund it. We're gonna have to cut back somewhere else, but we can fund it. We built the pavilion for Alluvial boat launch. Look, it's nice. But I think people would rather their garbage get picked up than having a pavilion. The boat launch was nice. That was what, 400,000, 300,000? That right there would have paid for the garbage.
Can I
For
pose
1
a
year.
question? In the past, when you said that it was charged $5 on the water bill, was it not sufficient? I mean, given the sales tax is considered regressive and everyone's paying for it, could it be considered an option to where the users pay for it versus?
It was really a user tax. We had, plus every area had a millage tax, and it depends on what you collected on the millage tax in that area that you had to pay the difference. We got rid of all that and went to, Mr. Lafont, I need to correct him because I don't pay any property taxes, but this is a sales tax. You don't even know what we're talking about.
I do know.
We're talking about a sales tax. We're not talking about a property tax. It was like that prior to this, okay? And as far as the pavilion and the boat launch, you got all kind of funds in this parish that people vote on. It's for certain things. It's dedicated. You can't take the money from recreation and go pick up garbage. That's nonsense. What's wrong? Some of these councilmen need to wake up and.
All right, let's move
sharpen
along.
up.
Mr. Melvin, you're up.
I appreciate you coming tonight, Cody. What
Thank you.
happens here, in my opinion, is this, and it's just about letting the people know the choices we're faced with now. And I know we've been talking about this among, among council members of what we're gonna do about the garbage. Basically, it just comes down to choices. And it's choices that have, a long time coming. I think the oil industry taking a dip has lowered the sales taxes, which made this thing speed up. It comes down to when I sat in a meeting with solid waste and the people who pick up the garbage, Progressive, they said, look, here's some choices. And I'm all about choices, and I want to give the people a choice, because after all, we represent them. I do not like taxes. And I know people have enough of taxes, Obamacare taxes and everything else shoved down their throat from Baton Rouge and Washington. So when we finally get to vote on a tax, people are like, hey, we can vote on something and not get taxed. And I understand in some cases, levy districts and things like that, they've done it. It's up to the people is my point, okay? Just like with the last two taxes. Here's the thing. We're going to have choices. One is going to be, and this is what Progressive told us, carts only. If it changes from twice a week, carts only, which is just your green cart, twice a week. Once a week pickup. And then the other choice.
Why not just cut back somewhere else, Bo?
I'm just telling what the choices.
You're giving a long
Progressive-
story when we could cut back.
Jerry, I'm just telling the gentleman what Progressive told us. Or go up on the 3/10. Okay, there's some other choices, I guess, but I'm just telling you what they told us. I'm just being due diligence and informing you as to what they told us. And it's up to the public, and we're willing to do whatever the public wants to do. And I'm not trying to take an easy way out, because I hate taxes, okay? But I'm just telling you that those are the choices that were posed to us in a meeting by Progressive when we sat with Solid Waste Lafourche Parish.
Thank you, Bo. Mr. Hotan.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out to the other council members and to the public, if you notice on our proposed ordinances, about half of those boards and commissions have on there to roll forward, which I know Wendy had made a great effort last year, asking everyone not to do that if they didn't really have to, but I noticed that, once again, everybody kind of grabbing the money, and I think that's unfortunate. I wish a lot more of those boards and commissions had considered not to do that.
Mr. Bourgeois.
Real quick, hey, Bo, our Waste Connections is our contractor, not Progressive.
I'm sorry.
But anyhow, I just want to address why the sales tax versus the water tax and what have you, is that on the sales tax is about consumption, and consumption is actually what dictates the garbage. And I understand saying the water bill, but a commercial entity like me that has multiple water meters, but I'm still going to produce the same amount of garbage versus someone, if you spend more, what have you. I think that's why they went to it. I wasn't here 30 years ago when they did it, but the more people buy, whether it's whole goods, consumables, foods, groceries, means you generate more garbage. And I think that's a legislative thought that was happening at the time.
Thank you.
I think we just tell the garbage company to just turn all rights and no lefts. And what you got, LaFont?
Listen, that's a negotiable contract, and there's other people willing to come and negotiate for less. But Bo, they still go by Progressive too. I just want to let you know.
All right, thank you for being here. Thank you for stating your stance on that. Make it quick,
It
Bo.
was progressive when we met with them.
Still are.
All right, so any other motions in here tonight? So y'all don't want a motion to the unanimous?
No, just take a full vote. Your mic's not on, Mr. Daniel.
Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. Bourgeois. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
I want to say something on that.
We don't go to unanimous.
We met with the district attorney the other day to hire an attorney. We came back in this council, it was an emergency, to hire an attorney for this Choctaw levy, and it's on the agenda tonight, and now we're not gonna hire.
We're gonna call a special meeting
Oh,
for
here we
that.
go, we're gonna call a special meeting. Good night.
All right, can we get a motion to adjourn, Mr. Jones, second by Ms. Esposito, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? 9-0, we are adjourned at 7:34.